You spend $220,000 on a car. 5 years later, it is worth $4,000. That is not a hypothetical. It happened to some of the most brilliant machines ever built. These are 5 cars that engineers perfected, craftsmen handmade, and the market destroyed. Let's go. We start at number 5. And even the starting point on this list is enough to make your stomach turn. The Volkswagen Phaeton W12. Now before we get into the numbers, you need to understand what made this car so remarkable and so completely doomed. Volkswagen means the people's car in German. That is not a slogan. That is the entire identity of the brand. The Golf, the Jetta, practical, dependable, sensible machines built for ordinary people living ordinary lives. So when Volkswagen's chairman announced in the late 1990s that the company was going to build a hand-assembled, ultra-luxury flagship sedan to go toe-to-toe with Rolls-Royce and Bentley at $250,000, the automotive world genuinely did not know how to react. But here is the thing. They actually pulled it off. The Phaeton W12 is, by any engineering measure, extraordinary. The W12 engine, 12 cylinders arranged in a W formation, essentially 2 narrow-angle V6s joined at a single crankshaft, produces 444 horsepower and more torque than most people will ever need. Getting that engine to fit inside a production car, to cool properly, to behave reliably across hundreds of thousands of miles, that was an engineering challenge most manufacturers would not have attempted. But the engineering story goes deeper than the engine. The Phaeton was assembled in a facility in Dresden, Germany that Volkswagen called the Transparent Factory. And that name was not marketing. The building was literally made of glass. Visitors could walk through and watch craftsmen in white lab coats assembling cars by hand on a polished hardwood floor. Not a concrete factory floor. Hardwood. The kind you find in a concert hall. Every Phaeton had to maintain an interior temperature of exactly 72 degrees Fahrenheit regardless of outside conditions. It had to be capable of cruising at 186 miles per hour continuously. It had to be quieter inside than any other car on the road. And it had to be built to a quality standard that made Rolls-Royce engineers uncomfortable. They hit every single target. And then the market looked at the badge on the hood and said, "No thank you." Because when you spend $220,000 on a car, you are not just buying engineering. You are buying status. You are buying a name and a Volkswagen badge, no matter what extraordinary machine sits beneath it, simply does not deliver what a buyer at that price point is actually paying for. The Phaeton sold poorly. Volkswagen eventually discontinued it. And today, a car that cost $220,000 new, built by hand in a glass palace on a hardwood floor, can be purchased for somewhere between $3,000 and $6,000. That is 98% depreciation, the most catastrophic loss of value in the history of the automobile. And nothing else on this list comes close. Number 4. Maserati, the Trident badge, the Italian thoroughbred, the car that is supposed to represent passion, soul, and the kind of mechanical artistry that Germans plan on a spreadsheet and Italians simply feel. The Quattroporte, which means 4 doors in Italian, has a lineage stretching all the way back to 1963. For over 60 years, Maserati has been building grand touring sedans for people who want something more soulful than a Mercedes, something more exotic than a BMW, something with a heartbeat. The engine in the Quattroporte is Ferrari-derived, a twin-turbocharged V8 producing up to 523 horsepower. And that connection to Ferrari is not a marketing claim. For a period of its history, Maserati was actually owned by Ferrari. The engineering DNA runs deep. At full throttle, the exhaust note of a Quattroporte is one of the genuinely great sounds in the automotive world. Not the clinical precision of a German engine. Something more emotional, more operatic, more Italian. The interior craftsmanship is real. The wood trim is hand-selected, hand-fitted. The leather comes from Italian tanneries that have been supplying the finest upholstery makers in the world for generations. Every surface you touch in a Quattroporte was touched by human hands before yours. And then you try to sell it. A Quattroporte that cost $140,000 new is worth $30,000 to $35,000 5 years later. The Ghibli is worse. Some examples lose 75% of their value inside 5 years. The reasons are well documented. Reliability concerns that have followed the brand for years. service costs that are genuinely eye-watering even by exotic car standards, and a perception problem. Buyers at the $140,000 price point tend to choose German precision or British prestige over Italian passion, and the used car market reflects that preference without mercy. Number 3. McLaren. And this one genuinely hurts, because these are not just good cars. These are extraordinary machines built by a company with one of the most remarkable engineering pedigrees in the history of motorsport. McLaren Automotive grew directly out of McLaren Racing, the Formula One team that has won more championships than almost any other constructor in the sport's history. When McLaren decided to build road cars, they did not bring in automotive designers and ask them to make something beautiful. They brought in aerospace engineers and racing technicians and told them to build the fastest, most capable road car that the laws of physics would allow. The 570S is built around a carbon fiber monocoque chassis, one single piece of carbon fiber that forms the entire structural core of the car. This is not a steel frame with carbon panels bolted on. The carbon fiber is the structure, and building a carbon fiber monocoque is nothing like stamping steel in a press. It is a process of laying carbon fiber cloth by hand, layer by layer, into a mold, then curing it in an autoclave at precisely controlled temperatures and pressures. The technicians who do this work are not assembly line workers. They are specialists with skills that take years to develop. The twin-turbocharged 3.8-liter V8 in the 570S produces 562 horsepower. In the 600LT, the Longtail, a name that references McLaren's legendary racing heritage, it rises to 592 horsepower. The hydraulic suspension operates on physics rather than software, reacting to road conditions faster than any electronic system can manage. The aerodynamics were developed in the same wind tunnel McLaren uses for its Formula One cars. And yet, a 600LT that cost $240,000 new can be found today for $100,000 to $110,000. The problem was volume. McLaren built too many. When thousands of these cars hit the used market simultaneously, prices collapse. Add in high maintenance costs, a dealer network that is still finding its footing, and buyers who are nervous about long-term reliability, and you have a perfect recipe for brutal depreciation. A car built with Formula One technology, assembled by hand by aerospace-trained technicians, is now worth less than a base Porsche 911. That is a hard number to sit with. Number 2. And the dollar amounts we are dealing with now are in a different dimension. The first-generation Rolls-Royce Ghost. In raw dollar terms, this is one of the most expensive depreciation stories you will ever encounter outside of real estate. The Ghost was introduced in 2009 as Rolls-Royce's entry-level model. The fact that a car costing $250,000 can be described as entry-level tells you everything about the world Rolls-Royce operates in. But the Ghost was not a lesser Rolls-Royce. It was a different kind of Rolls-Royce. While the Phantom was designed to be driven in, the Ghost was designed to be driven. It was built for owners who wanted to sit behind the wheel themselves, who wanted a car that was not just a luxury object, but a luxury experience. The engineering is extraordinary. The 6.6-liter twin-turbocharged V12 produces 563 horsepower, though horsepower is almost beside the point. The Ghost was tuned to deliver power in a way that felt effortless, like the car was simply deciding to go faster rather than being pushed. The suspension uses cameras to read the road surface ahead and adjust the dampers before the wheel even reaches the imperfection. The steering gives just enough feedback to feel connected without ever feeling demanding. And the craftsmanship. The wood veneers in a Ghost are hand-selected from a library of hundreds of options, matched and book-figured by craftsmen who have spent years learning to read wood grain the way a musician reads sheet music. The leather is sourced from bulls raised in specific climates to minimize scarring, because Rolls-Royce's craftsmen will not work with imperfect hides. The Starlight headliner, the optional fiber optic ceiling, is created by technicians who spend hours hand-threading individual fiber optic strands through the headliner material, one by one, to create a ceiling that looks like a private night sky. Not a printed pattern, not in lead grid, individual strands placed by human hands. And a Ghost that cost $300,000 new is worth $100,000 to $130,000 today. That is $170,000 to $200,000 gone. The reason is not quality. The reason is what it costs to own one. Tires alone cost thousands of dollars per set. Service is expensive. Repairs, if something goes wrong, are eye-watering. Buyers in the used luxury market know this, and they demand a massive discount to take on that risk. The Ghost depreciation is not a verdict on the car. It is a verdict on the bill that comes with it. Here we are. Number 1. The car that makes everything else on this list look like a minor inconvenience. The Bugatti Veyron. Before we talk about the money, and we will talk about the money, you need to understand what it actually took to build this car. Because the Veyron is not just a fast car or an expensive car. It is proof of what happens when a group of human beings refuse to accept that something is impossible. In the late 1990s, Volkswagen Group acquired Bugatti, a legendary name that had been dormant for years. And the chairman who ordered the Phaeton, the same Ferdinand Piëch, set a target for Bugatti's comeback: 1,000 horsepower, 250 miles per hour, a production road car. And he wanted it done. The engineers who received that brief looked at each other and understood immediately that nothing they knew applied. There was no template, no existing technology you could simply scale up. Every single system in the Veyron had to be invented from the ground up, because nothing that existed was capable of doing what was being asked. The engine, a W16, 16 cylinders arranged in a W configuration, 4 banks of 4 cylinders joined at the crankshaft, 8.0 liters of displacement, 4 turbochargers, 10 radiators, 10 separate cooling systems to manage the heat. The metallurgy required to build components that could survive 1,001 horsepower in a road car simply did not exist. Bugatti's engineers had to work with material scientists to develop entirely new alloys, new coatings, new manufacturing processes. The pistons in that engine moved 250 times per second at maximum revs. The connecting rods experience forces measured in tons with every combustion cycle. Building parts that could survive that, reliably, in a car that real customers would drive on public roads, was an engineering challenge that had never been attempted before. The tires. Michelin developed an entirely new tire specifically for the Veyron because no existing tire could survive the forces at 253 miles per hour. The centrifugal force at that speed wants to tear the rubber from the carcass. Michelin's engineers spent years developing a construction that could hold together. The result costs $42,000 for a set of 4 and lasts approximately 15,000 miles. The wheels, which are bonded to the tires and replaced as a unit, cost $69,000 per set. The body panels, hand-formed aluminum and carbon fiber, shaped and fitted by craftsmen at Bugatti's atelier in Molsheim, France. Molsheim is where Ettore Bugatti himself built his cars in the early 20th century. That tradition of hand craftsmanship has never been abandoned. The panel gaps on a Veyron are measured in fractions of a millimeter. Achieving that precision requires human hands, human eyes, and human judgment that no automated system can replicate. Volkswagen spent an estimated $1.5 billion developing the Veyron. They sold each one for $1.7 million. They lost money on every single car. The development cost alone, spread across the 450 Veyrons ever built, works out to more than $3 million per car. They built it not to make money. They built it to prove something. And then the market did what markets do. In the years around 2012 to 2015, as the initial excitement faded and the reality of ownership set in, values dropped to around $1 million. On a $1.7 million car, that is a $700,000 loss. In pure dollar terms, the single largest depreciation hit of any car on this list. The running costs became legendary. An oil change requires draining 16 liters of oil, takes hours, and costs thousands of dollars. The annual service, if everything goes well, runs $20,000 to $30,000. If something goes wrong, the bills reach 6 figures. Tires, wheels, insurance, storage. Owning a Veyron costs approximately $300,000 per year before you drive it a single mile. Owners who looked at those numbers and couldn't hold on, who sold during those dark years, lost $700,000 on a car that took billions to develop, years to engineer, and hundreds of hours of the finest hand craftsmanship in the world to build. The cruelest part of the story, the Veyron eventually recovered. Today, well-maintained examples sell at or above their original list price. Collectors finally recognized what the Veyron actually is, not just a car, but a monument. Evidence that human beings, given enough time and determination and skill, can do things that should not be possible. But the ones who sold early, they don't get that back. 5 cars. 5 engineering masterpieces. Billions of dollars in combined development cost. Hundreds of thousands of hours of skilled human labor. Craftsmen who spent decades mastering techniques that cannot be taught in a classroom. And the used car market looked at all of it and said, yeah, we'll give you a fraction of what you paid. That is the brutal truth of automotive depreciation. It does not care about effort. It does not care about craftsmanship or engineering brilliance or how many hands touched the leather before yours. It cares about what someone is willing to pay today. And today, for these 5 cars, that number is a fraction of what they were worth when they were new. Now I want to know, if you could pick one of these cars at today's used price, knowing everything you now know about the running costs, which one would you actually buy? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If you got value from this video, hit the like button and subscribe. We break down stories like this every single week, and it only gets better from here.